A team from Destiny Rescue have journeyed to a city in a southern Asian nation. Considered a source country, human traffickers are drawn here like magnets to exploit the starting point of one of the world's busiest human trafficking routes.
We're here because we believe there are at least 1 million kids that are trapped in the sex trade around the world, and we believe that 7 out of 10 are in the Asia and Pacific region of the world.
From here, anything up to 25,000 women and children are trafficked into a neighboring nation every year. Most drawn by false promises of marriage, employment, and education.
In this area, there's a population of girls that are attractive for a number of reasons, and the demand is driving the kids to be trafficked from here into that area.
It's a poor country, right? So there's a lot of temptation for girls to leave their lives here on the hope and I guess the promise of a better life. So when they end up in these places, it's not the life that they've thought they were going to. And we've heard stories today that girls end up all throughout the world just because of lies and just because of the hope of a better future.
Girls are trafficked for brothels, liver trafficking, street begging. Now, girls are even trafficked for organ transplant. That's a big thing, especially the kidney. In some cases, men put money together to buy a girl and use this girl as their wives or sex slaves.
The average age of girls trafficked across the border into brothels is just 15. Their virginity a valuable commodity to traffickers, selling the myth that sex with an untouched child from this nation will cure all manner of sexually transmitted diseases.
We've been to the places where these kids are being trafficked, and it's hell on earth. And the idea that we can rescue them before they're tricked and trapped and broken in these places is the reason we're here.
A bus terminal in the nation's capital has become pivotal to the outward movement of trafficking victims towards multiple border crossing points. Almost all women and children coerced into leaving the country will begin their journeys here.
A girl from surrounding villages comes to the city. All the girls from those districts have to come to this place before they take bus to the border town. So if you want to go to the border, that's where you're going to go and you're going to get the ticket to start your journey. Anybody can just come here and buy a ticket and get on a bus. There's no checking, nothing. You don't even have to provide your identifications or anything. Nobody's going to ask you. And they'll come here, they'll collect their ticket, they'll get on the bus, and they will end up at the border crossing.
One of the questions was asked, why don't we intercept girls here from the buses? It's hard here because how do you prove that they're going to another country? Because they just say, oh, I'm going to visit my uncle or I'm going to visit a relative, and so it's hard to prove actually where they're going. So we have to have these checkpoints set up on the borders to intercept the girls once they get to those border crossing towns.
Some 450 miles from the capital, traffickers are targeting border crossings along the remote western edge of the nation. By road, it's a grueling 17-hour journey, but scant security and lax regulations there are incentive enough for criminals trying to deliver human cargo without detection.
This border is very close to the capital of a neighboring country. So people prefer to travel from here as basically nobody checking them. This border is not well monitored by the security forces. Girls are tricked, and from there they are taken to Middle East or Africa.
This location, Jason, it's pretty hardcore to get to, isn't it?
It's not easy. One of the things I love the most about Destiny Rescue is they're willing to go wherever it takes, and even after the rescue to do what it takes to keep them free. So I love that rescue stays relentless with them.
The border between these two nations spans over 1,000 miles. Here, at its most westerly crossing, limited government resources can barely fund rudimentary checks on luggage for contraband goods, let alone women and children being smuggled.
Being a very poor country, there are not sufficient resources to confront all of these issues. That's where we come in and fill that gap, and we work together with police and governments in two countries by helping them try to prevent human trafficking. So this relationship is very, very important, that we have, and that gives us advantage as well.
Unprecedented powers to stop and question possible human trafficking victims before they cross the border have been granted to a Destiny Rescue initiative, and the team have come here to observe this work in action.
There are so many crossing points, thousands of people crossing into the other side, but we have set up border stations where we are checking the girls or minor child crossing to other side. And our staff are very genius, and they know what they are asking, what they have to look for, any red flag.
साथमै सबै बनगाउने हो यहाँ कहाँ देखाउनु भएको मेरो मेन काम चाहिँ नेपालबाट इन्डिया गइरहेको महिला तथा बालबालिकाहरूलाई मानव बेचबिखन विरुद्ध सूचना तथा परामर्श दिने काम हो कसलाई लिएर आउनु भएको थियो हस्पिटल हामी आफै के भएको छ अनि उहाँहरू एक्लै गइराख्नु भएको छ कि अनि अगाडि पछाडी उहाँहरूको कोही हुनुहुन्छ कि हुन्न भन्ने अनि उहाँहरूसँग केही सामानहरू छ कि खाली हात गइराख्नु भएको यही निर त बनकट्टीमा गए मम्मीहरुलाई थाहा छ म गइराख्छु साथीकोमा उहाँलाई चाहिँ मेरो दाइ हो भनेर उहाँहरूले चाहिँ लग्नुहुन्छ दाइ बहिनी भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ उहाँहरूले के भन्नुहुन्छ कि विश्वास गर्नुहुन्छ अनि जान्न दिनुहुन्छ भनेर उहाँहरूले चाहिँ झुटो बोल्नुहुन्छ उहाँहरूले मबाट नरोकिनको लागि चाहिँ म आफ्नो गार्जियनसँग गइरहेको छु मसँग मेरो मम्मी बुवा दाइहरू हुनुहुन्छ भनेर पनि झुटो बोल्नुहुन्छ अनि साथमा गइरहेको अनि उहाँलाई कन्ट्याक्ट नम्बर पनि हुँदैन र साथमा गार्जियनहरूसँग पनि छ उहाँहरूले झुटो बोलेर आएको अवस्थामा गइराख्नु भएको हुन्छ उनीहरूको सोचाइमा त त्यही हुन्छ कि म त्यहाँ गएपछि धेरै पैसा कमाउँछु राम्रो लाउँछु राम्रो खान्छु भन्ने तर वास्तविकता त्यो हुँदैन नि त नि
Our staff are so motivated to rescue minors, girls. They're constantly watching the girls who are passing through the border. Every other day, they're making a rescue from this border points, and it's pretty much a similar story in other border points as well. In order to make this kind of rescue, they interview 400, 500 girls a month.
उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ मानव बेचबिखन विरुद्धको बारेमा सूचना तथा परामर्श दिन पाउँदा मलाई पनि खुसी लाग्छ र कतिपय बहिनीहरू अनजानमा गइरहेको अवस्थामा दिदीहरूलाई रोक्न पाउँदा र उहाँहरूलाई सुरक्षित उहाँहरूको परिवारसम्म पुर्याउन जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ एकदमै खुसी लाग्छ त्यही हो अरु त
Two things that I did like to see was the relationship that we have with the local authorities, and two, how well our staff do here. And we need to duplicate this to a lot of the border crossing places because we can see that this is just one little area that's very effective, and so if we can duplicate this, we're going to be able to rescue many more kids. So it's good.
Any children apprehended are taken to a nearby safe house where staff can care for their immediate needs. For many, this will be a moment of realization as the lies and false promises of their traffickers are exposed.
अनि आमा जस्तै उसले विश्वास दिलायो अनि नानीले विश्वास गर्नुभयो
अनि बाबा बितेदेखि मैले काम गरेको थिएन कामको बारेमा सोधेको थिएँ मैले अनि हुन्छ त म राम्रो ठाउँमा तिमीलाई काम लगाइदिन्छु भनेर भन्नुभयो अनि इन्डियातिर कपडा पसलमा राम्रो राम्रो स्यालेरी हुन्छ 20,000 जति हुन्छ अनि मेरो बहिनी पनि नेपालमै पढिरहेछ +2 मा अनि उसको फीको लागि नि हामीलाई गाह्रो परिरहेको थियो त्यही भएर बाबा बित्दाखेरि पनि बाबा इलेक्ट्रिसियन हुनुहुन्थ्यो
कसरी चिन्नुभयो फेसबुकमै चिन्नुभयो के भन्यो तपाईँलाई त्यो दिदीले
मेरो चाहिँ अब छातीको प्रब्लमले गर्दा पहिला नखुमा जब गर्थेँ अनि 4 महिना थियो ब्रेस्टमा
कुन अफिसमा गर्नुहुन्थ्यो
ब्रेस्टमा त्यो ट्युमर छ त्यो प्रब्लमले गर्दा म रेस्ट गरेर बसिरहेको थिएँ अनि कुरा भयो राम्रो के अरे राम्रो जब हुन्छ स्यालेरी राम्रो दिन्छ खाना बस्न उनीहरूले नै हेर्छ भन्नुभयो विश्वास गरेर आयो तर थाहा थिएन यस्तो भनेर
अहिले कस्तो लाग्छ जब तपाईँले यथार्थ तुले तपाईँलाई चिन्दिनँ भन्यो अथवा उसैले म यिनीहरूलाई चिन्दिनँ भन्यो है अहिले कस्तो लाग्छ त्यो आइमा सही मान्छे रहेछ कि रहन्छ जस्तो लाग्छ बा
फ्रड केस
They trust so quick. Through phone, through Facebook, Twitter, you have a conversation through cell phone. How can you believe? And she say, they convince, oh, you are so poor, I like to provide a job for you, nice job. And they believe soon. Soon they believe because they are so innocent girl. And they believe. And they have a, broker have an opportunity,
We counsel girls saying that somebody is deceiving you, like giving you false promises. They are only trying to lure you to the other side. And we call their parents, and they would come here and ask them, like, do you know that she is leaving the house? And in most of the cases, they say that we don't know, like, she's just running away. So for her safety, like, we call their parents and we repatriate them.
Success at one checkpoint has inevitably created problems at another.
So long road. So everybody they're driving the bicycle. You see, only bicycle.
Some 60 miles further along the border, traffickers are concentrating their efforts on a remote and barely supervised rural crossing.
So much difficulty. So many vehicles come to there. They choose this road because that this road no irrigation. They go just across the bridge and through that border.
Without intervention, the team drives straight into a no-man's land. Here, a bridge spanning the divide between the two nations holds the key to defending the line against human trafficking.
This border is a very small border crossing, but there's about 13 to 17 buses that comes here every single day. This has not been monitored, or there's no immigration department. You don't even see a police presence here. So it's a very much open border here. And we have found that traffickers are taking advantage of this open border, and it's very easy for traffickers to go unnoticed.
In our country, the border is a big deal, and this is just wow.
Yeah,
it's just
and
really
just
easy.
see that they didn't even stop us, So they're not looking for human trafficking situations at all. They're more concerned about illegal good being brought into this border. So that's pretty much what they're looking for.
What obviously is cool here is that you're going to plug this hole because it desperately needs it.
Yes,
Wow.
that's what we're trying to do. So this place is very important for us, and this is the last line of defense.
if you're a trafficker, this is where you'd be bringing people. And, you know, worst case scenario, you'd just be having to pay a few people off. But, you know, I love the fact that we're going to be getting here and stopping a lot of these kids, you know, getting to their destination, which of course once they're there, it's sometimes almost impossible to get them out.
It's amazing to me, just the lack of resources and the easeability to get people across without any safety checks just shows how vulnerable people are and how easy it would be to take advantage of that vulnerability and exploit them, and how we need to be that safety net of protection and community that looks out for their best interest, because if we don't, who will? No one currently is. We need to answer that call.
By funding and operating checkpoints at unmanned crossings, Destiny Rescue is hoping to emulate the success of their established work some 180 miles further along the border.
Well, we're on our way to an area where we have 2 border point crossings with an additional checkpoint on a major highway. We've been operating in this area now for roughly just over a year. And excited to tell you, between these 3 border points, we have nearly 300 rescues at this time. That requires our staff to fully monitor these border points every hour that these borders are open. That also means they're doing roughly 600 to 800 interviews a month in order to net these rescues.
To meet this daunting challenge, Destiny Rescue is funding a 2-pronged assault on the efforts of human traffickers hiding in this sea of humanity.
The situation is very chaotic. Hundreds of people crossing into the other side, but we're trying our best to make sure that, we are able to rescue minors or girls at risk.
The first line of defense is a team of dedicated agents who have the authority to stop and board any private or commercial vehicle arriving at the border.
अनि बाबाको नाम के हो नि बुवाको बुधराम बुधराम मम्मीको शङ्का उ चाहिँ जस्तै उस भिनाजुसँग इन्डिया जाँदै थियो अब भिनाजु हो कि हैन परमाणको नभएर त्यही शङ्का थियो उसको भिनाजु हो कि हैन त्यो फोन गरेर सम्पर्क गरे अनि सम्पर्क गर्दाखेरि अब भिनाजु रहेछ त्यो कुनै जना चाहिँ राम्रो काम गर्नुहुन्छ भन्नुहुन्छ अनि पनि बिहान पनि एकदम रिसाएर कोही आवेशमा आएर एकदमै गाह्रो हुन्छ छोप्नलाई पनि हैन कुनै एकदमै रिसाउनुहुन्छ अनि कुनैले चाहिँ सरल भाषामै भन्नुहुन्छ.
In a patriarchal culture, the key to extracting the truth from girls suspected of being trafficked lies with a female team of rescue agents.
Women, they are so afraid with a man, and women, they're not sharing anything with a man. They're not sharing, and easy for women sharing every problem for women. That way we have a girl staff.
There are some of staff who have been trafficked previously, and now they are working. So they are very, very motivated to prevent any forms of trafficking.
Yeah, when you join the fight, it's not a transaction, it's a transformation. You're getting involved in people's lives and people's futures. You're helping to write a different narrative and rewrite or help create a better chapter for their tomorrow. Someone's got to make sure that someone's not being tricked or exploited to be brought across.
त्यही उहाँको आफ्नो बुवा मम्मीलाई उहाँको श्रीमान विदेश हुनुहुने रहेछ अनि उहाँ विदेशमा कुरा गर्न त सम्भव भएन मैले भने घरको बुवा मम्मीलाई फोन गराइदिनुहुन्छ माइतको गराइदिए पनि हुन्छ कोसँग जान लाउनु भयो के गर्नुभयो थाहा छ कि छैन भनेर कन्ट्याक्ट गराइरहेको थियो अहिले कन्ट्याक्ट चाहिँ भएको छ
She don't have any documents to cooperate. If she had a doctor's slip, they will let her go, but she don't have that one too.
You were saying this is how traffickers work, they tell them what to say?
Yeah, trafficker already had convinced them what to say if they stop on the border.
Somebody coming, that way she waiting here. She come, and they not come to same bus, and they meet here and cross the border.
And what's your instinct? Do you think this girl's being trafficked?
Really possible. Yeah. Otherwise, why they not come to same bus?
What's hard is I've been where they're taking them, and I've seen things in that place that haunt me, and to see her standing right there, and you know what it is? It's that it's the beautiful side that gets me. It's the idea that we could spare her. That's cool.
While one team of agents search vehicles crossing the border, the second prong of attack is focused on a foot crossing.
If we fail to stop them here, their future is uncertain. We do not know where they will end up.
Here, just looking as if you belong in the region is enough to be granted freedom of movement across a narrow grass divide separating the two nations.
I was just looking at all the ladies in the burqas, right? If you're a smart trafficker, you'd throw a burqa on a girl and walk them through with another group of them. They're not getting pulled up, and they're coming through in groups of 5 and 6. So yeah, there's very little police presence here at all. There's like 2 guys there and a handful on their side. You could walk straight across here into no man's land. So it's crazy. No fences, no walls. Very, very free to come and go.
Any girls or young women intercepted at either crossing point here are taken for further questioning, where the true motive for their journey is carefully extracted by trained agents.
कति वर्षको भयो मेरो 19 बिहे भयो हैन नि अनि लेबर पनि लाउनु पाइने 15-16 वर्षका मात्र थिए कि अरु धेरै थिएन बडा जना पनि चिने पनि ले त झोरा नाइ लेखेर मोबाइल लेखेर बडा नि लाउने थिएन नाइ लगाइल भयो इन्डियन गर्न लगाइल बोर्ड भाग्दैन यो घरै डालु दिए छन् खोज्दै हिँड्याला तिनीहरुलाई फेरि सोधेर तिनीहरुलाई चित्त बुद्धि गरेर फेरि इन्ट्री गरेर फोन गरेर अलिबाबा फोन गरेर छोडेर भन्नु न बडा तपाई भन्नु न हैन केही त हुँदैन भन्नु न लाइक कोही ठाउँमा लेख्दिनु पहिले भन्नु न बाबाको नाम मम्मीको लेख्नु खिमिया चौधरी लेख्नु बाबाको नाम भन्दै अनि जिरो भइराछ के के भयो भन्नु न.
We ask them where they are going, with whom they are going. If there's a red flag that she is at risk of trafficking, we will take those girls to our office, which is about 1 kilometer from here. If they have to stay overnight, we have beds available for them. We'll provide all the foods and everything, and try to do further investigations and try to repatriate them with
their families.
One child is of particular concern to the team working here. Intercepted at the border and detained for further questioning, this teenager's story of a prospective engagement to a man she's never met has rung all the alarm bells.
अनि कहाँ जान आउनु भएको?
इसारा
अनि त्यसो भए कान्छ तिमी कोसँग कहाँ जान लाग्यो त?
साथीसँग एक्लै जान लाग्यो यहाँबाट।
बोयफ्रेन्डले फोन गर्यो। अनि कति महिना भयो उसँग फोनमा कन्ट्याक्ट भएको?
2-3 महिना।
2 महिना। अनि कान्छ तिम्रो उमेर कति अरे?
16 वर्ष कटे।
We got hold of the girl's phone and found the potential trafficker, his Facebook page, and it appears they've had a relationship, or looks like on here they're girlfriend, boyfriend, but they've only known each other for about 2 months. So she's taking the risk of leaving here. It's likely that she was on her way to be trafficked.
And this is fast growing, isn't it, in trafficking, using this sort of platform to hook girls in?
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing that, throughout Asia, especially that, just making connection with the girls and then trying to convince them to come to wherever they are,
It's a fake profile, isn't it?
I'd say so.
He looks like a 19-year-old model. I mean, who knows what he actually looks like? The only thing this girl knows about her boyfriend is his phone number and what he looks like on Facebook. She doesn't know his address. She's going to figure that out when she gets there, and it's very high risk of trafficking. She doesn't know anything about where she's going. She has no idea the hell that is waiting for her there. No idea.
अनि तिमीलाई त्यो नचिनेको ठाउँमा है कान्छ तिमीलाई थाहा छ?
नै उले बोलाएको हैन म मतलब मलाई इन्डियामा आफै
बिहा गरे मान्छे हो भने के गर्छौ?
Love is blind, as they say, and I suppose in her, she's going to live happily ever after is what her hope is. And we've been where they're taking her, and it's bad. It is bad.
I would think somewhere where we've rescued girls out before, houses that hold these girls, that break them in, do all sorts of terrible stuff to them so that they get submissive, and then, are going with customers night after night, day after day. You have those faces of the girls on your mind when you see all these other girls that they're rescuing here. And it's awesome that these guys are preventing that from happening to the girls, so it's great to be a part of it, and excited for opening up more of these other border crossings as well.
The work here is saving young lives from unimaginable fates. Destiny Rescue is providing interception agents, immediate care, and repatriation at 14 border checkpoints. Funding will enable new operations to begin at additional crossings and keep existing checkpoints staffed and operational.
In the places that we are strong, in the places that Destiny Rescue has checkpoints and where we have our agents, we're able to see already crime being stopped, violence being stopped, horrific ends to someone's story being stopped, and a new future, a better future beginning because there was someone on the front lines. And it shows why we desperately need to expand our work so that we can ensure safety, so that we can ensure proper opportunity for those that are needing it, desperately needing it, where there aren't resources available to them.
The ladies that are doing this work on the front lines, they're working long, hard hours because they love these kids. And it is dangerous because the folks that are trafficking these kids are facing 20 years in prison, and so it can get serious. And so these are brave women that could choose to do other things, but they have a passion for these kids. And you and I make it possible for them to be on that border, in that place, when these kids need them. And I'm thankful that we get to do it together.
It takes all of us to find an outrage in our heart to say it's not okay to sell the freedom of people. It's not okay to sell children. It's not okay to abuse humanity. And it takes all of us to make their cries audible and their dreams possible. If it's not our job, then whose is it? What a privilege to say you matter, your life matters. And we're going to do everything possible to ensure that you have the same dreams, same opportunities that we have.
Prevention is the greatest victory in the fight against the trafficking of children into sexual exploitation.
We get to be part of a really beautiful thing, and that's the part that sticks with me is when we share what we have, we get to spare kids the worst of humanity, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.